I have broken this finger 3 times in the last 2 weeks, so let me explain. Okay, so 2 Thursdays ago, almost exactly 2 weeks from today, me and Nick went out to celebrate our 2-year anniversary. And when we got back home, we're like roughhousing and wrestling around, which we do literally all the time. And a really unfortunate event happened. So basically my finger got caught and it like bent backwards like that, and I broke my finger. At the time I thought maybe dislocated or like you just like popped it, you know what I mean? But at like an hour and a half later, like looking at my finger, it was kind of crooked, so I ended up going to the emergency room. I think by the time that I finally actually drove to the ER, it was like midnight or maybe even 1 o'clock because we didn't even get home until like 11. I honestly am not sure what time it was, but Nick stayed home because Zayden was asleep. So I drove myself because I didn't want to leave her like at the house by herself, obviously. And I show up, they triage me, blah, 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 whatever. And he's like, okay, we're going to do some x-rays to see if it's broken, dislocated, whatever. And literally almost immediately he looks at my x-rays and he's like, yeah, it's completely broken. Okay, so this is my original x-ray. As you can see, the crack literally cuts my finger in half. It's my right index finger. So he wasn't kidding when he said completely broken. And this is like what my splint looked like, which was very odd to me. It was so massive. So like basically they gauzed my hand and like put this wrap on my hand, put this like full splint thing on, and then put some like ace bandage on top of it. So fast forward, they told me to follow up with an orthopedic doctor, surgeon, whatever, like 10 to 15 days later. But I went at day 8 because I just am too impatient. I just wanted to see that it's healing and all that stuff. And I went at day 8 and my finger was completely displaced and misaligned. And essentially, like the night I went to the ER, they were supposed to like reset it, like pop it back in place and then splint it and then x-ray the splint to make sure that my finger was straight. And they did none of those things. So this is what my finger looked like. Look how short it is. So essentially my bone slipped like down and caused my finger to be like shortened. And this was my x-ray. You can see like where it slipped down and then like all the gap right here, just that it's like not straight. So then they were like, it's kind of problematic because it's already been 8 days. So we're going to re-break your finger and try to like straighten it back up and then re-splint it so that way hopefully it can actually heal correctly. So this was the x-ray after they did that. You can see at the bottom it's like straighter, maybe not 100%, but definitely a lot better than it was. So then I leave, go home, whatever. I have a splint kind of like this one, except for it was straight. And I swear my finger probably got nudged or bumped into like 45 times. But one really big time was Sunday night after we taught a dance class. Zayden was trying to get my attention. She was like, look, and did this and like hit the mess out of it. And so that whole Monday, my whole finger was like super, super numb. And I just like knew, like I was like, it slipped again, like it's moved. So I went in Tuesday, which was yesterday, and sure enough, it was misaligned. In my mind, I'm going in and I'm like, they're definitely gonna like recommend surgery to me because they even said that that was an option the first time, like they're gonna have to put pins in my hand. But to my surprise, they said, we're gonna re-break your finger again and try this one more time because I guess since it's like injury induced, like it got hit, which is what caused the displacement, they still want to see if it's like capable of healing straight on its own. Now, if it slips like without anything happening to it, then that's like kind of hopeless and they have to do surgery. So my displacement was actually worse this time. This was my x-ray when I came in. As you can see, there's like a big giant gap right here and my finger was rotated. So like not only did it slip down, but it rotated. So it wasn't straight either way. Okay, and then this was my x-ray after they re-splinted me and after they re-broke my finger again. So very straight right here. Actually, I think this one looks better than like the first time they did it. In my opinion, you can see it's rounded. So he basically, instead of splinting me straight, he like went with the natural curve of my hand, like if I'm relaxed. So it's like a rounded splint, a little bit different. And if y'all want to know what the process of re-breaking a finger looks like, they essentially put a needle in my hand, like right here. Well, the first time they did on top of the knuckle, the second time they did underneath, and it went all the way through. It was so weird. I could feel the needle like stretching the skin. And they like basically pulled and yanked and like twisted my finger around until it popped. And then like they would like look at it and compare it to my other hand, and they're like, yeah, this looks good, and then re-x-ray it. So this was yesterday morning that they did this again for the second time now. And yesterday evening I went like this just to scratch my nose, and I heard my finger go and I was like, oh my gosh, please tell me it did not just slip again. So all day today I've been contemplating, like, do I go back in? Do I not? My follow-up appointment's not supposed to be for another week. But, like, if this thing's just going to keep doing this and I'm going to have to get surgery anyway, I want to get it over with, because every time they re-break my finger, my healing time starts completely over. So originally they were like probably going to be in the splint like 4 weeks and then obviously start rehabbing after that. We were 2 weeks in and my clock started over. So like hypothetically, if things were done right the first time, I'd be halfway through, and it really has gone by kind of fast, so it's not that bad. But as of yesterday, we started over with 4 weeks, assuming that this holds. Now, if it doesn't hold and I have to get surgery, then obviously from whenever the date I can have surgery is, it'll be like 4 weeks from then, because they'll do surgery, put pins in my hand, cast me, and then after the 4 weeks, they'll take the cast off, remove the pins, and then I have to start rehab, which I think rehab after surgery is a lot more extensive than rehab if you just splint your hand. I would say emotionally, I've been up and down, right? Like, I've been able to joke and laugh about it, and it is kind of funny. Like, realistically, if you don't laugh, like, I don't know, I would just be depressed. But there's been a few little moments where I felt very overwhelmed, this morning being one of them, because I'm just ready for this to be over with. Like, I just want it to be, like, done. I want my hand back. I want, like, normalcy. And so it's, like, setback, 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 setback. And so, like, I don't know. Now I'm just curious, like, is my finger even still in place after one day? I don't know. Also, I'm already extremely bored. So, like, because we've re-broken my hand twice now, my friends and my fiance are basically like, you have to be on bed rest. Not, like, literally, but, like, I can't. They don't want me out doing things, which is logical. I understand. No more dancing. No, like, running around. Anything to where it could possibly get hit or possibly misalign itself, I guess, or displace itself. So all day today, I've just been editing, doing emails, but I've been inside, and it's been one day, and I'm already going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Okay, sorry, this was such a long story, but honestly, it is kind of a long story, and I wanted to share and update you guys. So keep praying for me, and pray for healing and no surgery, and that it doesn't displace again, and we can just wear this splint for 4 weeks and be done with it. But I'll keep you guys posted and updated whenever I do decide to go back to the doctor and get more x-rays again. So stay tuned, and wish me luck. Bye.